Welcome to Knackerbox Garage, a Scratchy Pants production. I've just put the plug in the bottom of the sump. We'll wander around. I put a little bit of that on the threads. That's Yamaha Bond. That's the Yamaha's favourite, or 3Bond's favourite sealant. There's the plug. Got a little tendril of, I don't even see actually, a little tendril of Yamaha Bond there, but anyway, that's going to sit there. The gasket and all the other stuff is to put in the seal, and everything is supposed to be here tomorrow, which is great, and I can button this up and get it done, get her off the bench. That's it, that's all I've got to do really. And then it's the electronic ignition that I've purchased for the Guzzi should have arrived by then, so I'll have the Guzzi back on the bench and I can put my electronic ignition unit in from Australia, mate. Right, so I've just got my parts, and I'm just checking out this is the old kickstart bush. Goes on here. There's a definite rock to it. Not a lot, but there's, you know, there's some. This is the new bush. There's a very slight amount of rock, but nowhere near like there was on the existing one. So, yay. It also seems to be, I'm sure they're exactly the same. This one's kind of square edged. This one's got a lovely taper on it. So the new one, that will go straight in. Pretty sure it's going to be a pretty easy push. Well, look at that, nearly putting it in with my hand. Well, it's nearly in. Yeah, can't beat that, the soft mallet. So there's the new kickstart bush fitted. So really what I've got to do now is whack all this. Oh, hold on. I've got to do the seal, haven't I? I've got to do the seal and that. So I should probably put that on. And I should probably put that on first. So I need to lube this up. I'm going to prepare a bit before I start putting this back on. There is one thing I should show you actually while I'm going for it, is when you buy parts, there are certain companies who, I won't say the name because you can read it on the label. Everything is in an individual package with its number and its part number and its thing on. And when you buy gaskets, they come nicely packaged between two big thicks of cardboard and labelled. So I just think when you're buying stuff, and I buy stuff from various different places, you know, that this kind of attention to detail makes your life so much easier. And I don't get any kickback or anything from these guys. I just think that Mitch Klemp and his organisation does a fantastic job of putting together spare parts when you buy them, so that later, because say I don't use all of these and I put them in my blue box of parts, I can look at something later on and go, what the bloody hell's that? Well, if it's got one of those labels on it, it's easy to figure out what it is. And I've bought stuff off various different companies, and not everybody does that. And that's really helpful. So you may save a few dollars here and there, but at least if you go back in 6 months' time, you can look at something and go, oh yeah, I know what that is. Now, the other thing that you can't help you with, which I suffer from, is why did I buy that? Yeah, that's what the envelope's for. You can write on it why you bought it. So I pushed the ring in, and what I should have done is shown you how I did it. So it's pretty much, here's the old one. You get a new O-ring. You put it inside the ring, and as you can see, that one's an old one because it didn't even stay in. It fell out. And then you push it in. Press that in, and it was a bit of a light fit. So what I did, I got a little bit of my favourite Permatex on the end of a lollipop. You also get free lollipops from Klemps, and just smeared it around the bottom edge, just around where the ring goes, and then gave it a put it on the wood, and then give it a quick tap with a socket to bed it home, and I'm now going to leave it there. And that should be good. There you go, you can look at me instead of that. Oh, you probably want to look at that. So that should be good. That's going to dry overnight. And then we've got the new gasket to go on. I'll clean up the edge of the shaft here. The edge here is a little sharp, so I don't want to cut the seal when I put it in, so I'll take a little bit of wet or dry and just take the sharp edge off, because there's just a bit of an edge there. So just give it a polish with that. And then I'll probably wrap it with some cling wrap just to push it through. So when I've got it in the case, so it comes out, I don't want to tear the seal. That one's been on there and it's been working for about 8 years. So it's probably good for another 8 years. I am going to keep the old parts. I always do keep the old parts just in case. Sometimes, you know, old parts, well, not in the case of this because it's worn out, but it's useful to have one, you know. And I've got the space, so I'm going to hang on to that. Okay? I don't know whether you... I'll bend down. Probably got my head there anyway, but here's what we're up to. I've got the gasket on the other side. I'll show you that in a second. I said previously I was going to put cling wrap on. I'm out in the garage, so I've just used electrical tape. I am going to smear the inside of this with gearbox oil with my little finger. I've got the old gearbox oil down there. I'll just put some in, and then what I can do is pop this in, line that up, and then I'm going to put the kickstart on. Loosely using the old cotter pin and wind it back so I can then engage this into the other side. It's a bit of a wiggle. I also have to align this with the gear shaft. So if you see that's got a dog in it. This is the way Triumph did the converted from right hand gear change to left hand. This shaft goes all the way through the engine. It splits the primary. And on the other side, it comes through here, and there's a little, there's a blade, and that connects into that shaft. And you think with all that mechanism, it would be really kind of sloppy. This bike has one of the best gearboxes and gear changes I've ever experienced. The Rickman's pretty good, but this is super dreamy. It's better than my modern Triumphs. It's got a really slick shift. Everything just works so well. And the only time I've ever missed a gear is when I don't click it into gear properly. So got the new gasket on. I actually put it on upside down first time, which is why there's a little bit of oil there. But I've got some new fixings. I'll pop this into place with the thing on, then bring it back. I've got to lube a few things with my fingers, so there's oil, and I'll bring it back when I got it on loosely. So the cover is on. Cover's on, torqued it down. Next thing to do is put in the clutch cable. I should potentially lubricate that first, actually. Let me get my cable lubricator. I haven't lubricated the clutch cable in quite a while. I'll get that out of the way. I did get the exhaust on as well. That one on pretty easy. Pulling the spring, there's a spring the other side, which you need like an extra elbow in your arm and incredible pulling power. This guy was a real pain in the whatnot to get on. Anyway, it's on, so that's good. This is ready to make a lot of noise, and I will lubricate the cables. I had to buy a new cable lubing device. I've had that one since I had my Yamaha DT. I think I bought that from Gordon Farley Motorcycles in Guildford. Went to get my DT. It was 1980, so I've had it 1980. It is now, what, 2026? Needless to say, the rubber has gone really hard on it, so I should just chuck it out. But I can't bring myself to do that. So I did buy a new one, which I luckily cannot find. Oh, there's a cable end. Nice. Let me see, I've put it somewhere. I don't think it's in here. Nope. So is it in Homemade Special Bike Tools? Oh, got some thread locker in there, that's useful. I should say because it's gold. Well, I'm going to look for it. So if it's not in there, it could be in my other British Bike Tools. That's just got big spanners in it. So it's not in there. I don't think it's in there. I don't think it's in there. I don't think it's in here either in my special things. No, so maybe it's in the top of the tool chest somewhere. Just have to have a look. Let me put all my other junk up here. What's that? Wire strippers. There it is. It's not. It's got gold on it. It's blue still. Right. So if you haven't got one of these, they're really useful. I'm not going to be able to put it on. I'm not going to be able to put it on one-handed. So I'll put it on, then I'll bring you back. So cable oiler on the cable. I always use. I know you can buy probably the right stuff to do this, but I've always used WD-40. Stick that in the hole and look up at the cable head and then go, and when you can't see it but there's WD-40 pouring out at the clutch lever, you've lubed your cable. I know people are going to say shouldn't use WD-40 because it dries out, and you're right, it does, but I do this often enough that that's it. So for the sake of a cheap little tool, it's worth getting one of those. So now we're going to put the clutch cable back. Hopefully I'll speed this up on the video. So wind it all the way down. Right, and I'm just going to show you, I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this, but you can just see, maybe you can't, the cable nipple is sticking down. This is the clutch actuation arm. I need to get some needle nose pliers, pull it round, hook it in. So, that's what I'm going to do. But of course I haven't got the needle nose pliers. They weren't in the toolbox, they're on the other side of the work, on the bike lift. So, let me just see. Right, you can just see the cable nipple is there now, pulling on the clutch cable. So now it's just a case of winding this back out until you've just got a little bit of free play. There's a lot of free play. It's tight. There's a little. We'll call that it. Then I'm guessing I haven't got the right wrench to, sorry, spanner. The right spanner to do this. So let me go and get a selection, and we'll wind that up, and she'll be done. I think it's 7/16. No, it's 1/2 inch. There we go, put the sleeve or the little rubbery thing over the top. There we go. And then we'll go over to this side and see, you can see where the WD-40 splashed down. Nice. So now, a little bit of clean up. Get rid of the excess lube, because that then gets everywhere if you don't kind of look after it. And all I need now, I'm waiting for some cotter pins so I can put the kickstart back on. Pop that on, got to put some gearbox oil in, which isn't the most exciting thing to watch, so I'll do that now without the camera. And then when I've got the kickstart on, we'll whip it off the bench, and we're in the point where we want to then try and start it, which will be excellent fun. So just filled up the don't know if you can see that in there. You can just see the oil. That's about the right level. I haven't got the dip tube, so what I'm doing is I'm basically filling up to where it looks about right, and been doing that for 7 years, and it seems to be working. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. I've put the footrest back on and the brake pedal. I realised that wasn't on there last time I had the camera on, so I did that. I foolishly put the brake pedal on first, which is incorrect. You need to put the footrest on first, then the brake pedal. So I inadvertently remembered that. And now the next thing to do is wait for the cotter pin to come in so I can fit the kickstart. Then we can put the plugs back in, give them a quick clean up, obviously put them back in. Then get it off the bench, give it a prod, and listen to it run and see if it loses any oil. There's nothing coming out of the work that I've done. And I will say that this cover was a little lightly tightened when I checked it. When I came to take it off, it wasn't on super tight. So I think the gasket had probably, they compress it over time. Maybe a lot of my oil leaks literally were coming from not having this super tight. Not super tight, but pinch tight enough. So I think what I'll do is I'll run it, bed it in, put a few miles on it, and then I can come back and just nip round everything and make sure everything's tight, which you should do on a vibrating British bike anyway. But hopefully next thing will be putting the kickstart on. Hopefully my bicycle cotter pins, because that's basically what they are, actually work. So hopefully there's not too much tweaking needed. Alrighty, so here we are, kickstart's on. The cotter pin went in further than I would have liked it to have done, but it's okay. I've forgotten how much wonderful compression this thing has. Oh god. Yeah, so you can't do that by hand. So she's all back together. Gearbox oil's in. I should have wiped this down a little bit, get rid of the grease off the there we go, look at that, it's done. Get rid of the grease off the case. I will clean the bench off, I will pull her down, and then I've just realised I haven't got a reflector on that side, but I have on this side. How's it held on? Haven't got a reflector on this side either. How funny. Look at that, never had any reflectors. So I will get her off the bench. I need to move some stuff around. Got the car to get in. Then she's ready for a run. That's it, finished. Ready to go riding in the summer. Or at least in the warmer weather. So that about wraps it up for work on the Bonneville. Cotter pin's on, kickstart's on, it kicks over, it's got a lot of compression, haven't started it yet. It's rather effing cold outside, we've got a huge snowstorm coming soon, and I wanted to swap bikes around because I've got electronic ignition coming for this. This will be our next thrilling instalment of yet more work on the Guzzi. Talk to you next time. Right, it's pretty freaking cold here, so I've got gloves on, but she's back together, and I just want to, and I've got the indicators on, I'm just going to see if she'll go. Positive. So I'll be honest with you, this took a few kicks. So here she goes very shortly, probably on the 37th kick. call that it.